Opie, my wife, has asked me to cut a few pieces of aquamarine as she is working on a special order for a ring and she needs a center aquamarine stone, and she'd also like some extra pieces of aquamarine for her future jewelry designs. So I'm going to cut this old stock that I've had for a long time. This is a trim piece. The reason there's a mark on it with my marker is before I trimmed it, I made a flat spot, so that'll be the where I attach the table to. And this is also a trim piece left over from a bigger piece. And these are two of my ink blue, dark amethyst aquamarine that I did have tested. The first piece I cut with the lab report from the Gemological Institute of America. It is aquamarine. It's just very dark, sometimes called ink blue, and it does come this dark, very hard to find, very rare. I'm going to cut those two also. So I'm going to cut 5 pieces for her. She'll use one for the ring she's working on, and the rest she'll have for the next time she has something to use the aquamarine with. I'm going to mount my 5 aquamarines onto these 5 DOPs. 2 of these are new. These 2 are from Wyatt. They're for a different machine, not for the Ultratech, but they fit fine in the Ultratech. They're keyed differently, and they're a little bit longer than the Ultratech DOPs, but I find that that's not a problem at all. They fit in the machine, and being a little extra long doesn't hurt a thing. In fact, when you cut the girdle, it allows you to go a little further into the lap, so I actually think it's good. They're not keyed, but that's okay. I'll just override the key feature. You don't have to use the keyed feature of the Ultratech. But if you do use it, it makes sure that when you transfer, your stone is perfectly aligned. But I can align the stone pretty quickly without the keyed feature, so it's not a problem. So I'll be using all 5 of these DOPs. For these 5 aquamarine gemstones, I'll use Jeff Graham's simple Portuguese design, and I will experiment with different laps and different oxides to polish these gemstones. I did tweak the angles a bit of Jeff's design to improve the performance a little bit for aquamarine. I showed you in a previous video how to go back in time to access Jeff's old and now gone website because the internet never forgets. I think you will find it worth your time to visit the old website, as there's a lot of articles by Jeff at that site which are of interest to cutters, as well as about 24 of Jeff's favorite gem cutting designs, which he put into the public domain for all cutters to use. Okay, I finished the pavilion of the first stone, and I polished it with zirconium oxide on a tin lap. No problems polishing it right up, so I will work on the second gemstone. Now, I did use the DOP stick. This is one of Wyatt's DOP sticks. It works fine, like I said, with the Ultratech, no issues. Okay, I've pre-polished the pavilion of this piece of aquamarine, and you can see that I'm using one of the Wyatt's DOPs because of the way it's shaped. So again, the DOP's been no problem at all. So to polish this pavilion, I'm going to use cerium oxide on a tin lap for this one. Okay, I just finished polishing up the bottom half of another of our aquamarine. This is one of the ink blue aquamarine. And to polish this one, I used a tin lap and cerium oxide bat stick. It polished right up. I didn't notice the difference between cerium oxide and zirconium oxide with the tin lap. So let me go ahead and switch out stones, and I'll cut another one of our the pavilion part of another one of our aquamarines. Okay, this is the second ink blue aquamarine that I'm cutting, and I finished pre-polishing the pavilion of this one with my 3000 grit diamond on a bat lap. So for all these stones, I used a 320 grit topper for the couple that I needed to preform it, and then for all of them, 600 grit topper, 3000 grit diamond on a bat lap, and then I went to polish because they're all fairly small. That's all. Those are the only steps I needed. And to polish this stone, I think I'm going to try the Greenway lap by Gearloose, which is a chrome oxide composite polishing lap. I will just use a water drip, although you could supercharge the lap with one of the oxide bat sticks if you wanted to. Okay, I polished up the second of my darker ink blue aquamarine, and I just used the Greenway lap and it polished it right up. So now I'll work on another piece of aquamarine. Okay, I polished most of the upper half of our first aquamarine with tin lap and zirconium oxide. I still need to polish the table, so I'll go ahead and finish that. Okay, the table polished right up with zirconium oxide on a tin lap, so now I'll work on the next aquamarine. Okay, to polish the upper half of this aquamarine, which is another of the ink blue, which I probably will never find this color again. I found it came from a rough dealer from the Congo in Africa. And when I was in Tanzania and Kenya last year, visiting mines and buying rough, I didn't find this color of aquamarine. But I'll keep looking. So anyway, and when I was polishing this piece with cerium oxide on a tin lap, it just happened there was a chip. And it broke just right. If you see that star there, the diamond, the table is going to be cut down to just right there. Let me show you the other. Between those two flashing facets, that one and that one, the table goes where they just meet up here. So it's going to cut down just perfect. So that chip that came off, this piece right here, broke just right for once. So now I'll cut another of the aquamarines, and then I'll probably come back and cut the table of this. At the same time, I'll cut the table of another aquamarine, so I only have to set up the table adapter one time. Okay, this is the second of my ink blue or dark blue aquamarines, and for the upper half of this one, I'm going to polish it with my Greenway lap. I may hit my Greenway lap with my zirconium bat stick from Gearloose, just to supercharge it if I need to. Otherwise, the Greenway works just with a water drip, but if it's, I may try it just to hit it with a little bit more zirconium oxide. Well, that polished right up with the Greenway lap, and I did add a little bit of supercharger with the zirconium bat stick. I don't know if it needed it or not, but it didn't hurt it at all, and finished with the upper half. And now I'll go ahead and polish the crown of both of the two ink blue aquamarines that I have. All right, both the tables polished right up on these two. These are the darker aquamarines, so I'll soak these in the acetone and weigh them and measure them, and they'll be done with those two. So I have two more to go. All right. So this is the fourth of my 5 pieces of aquamarine, and for this one I'm going to polish it with my dark side lap and zirconium oxide. At least I'm going to try. So I probably should have got more aquamarine because there's still a lot more options on laps that I'd like to try out, but we'll give this one a try. So I was polishing the bottom half, the pavilion of this piece of aquamarine with my dark side lap and zirconium oxide, but it was slower than with the other laps. It was polishing it up, but it was taking a little longer, noticeably longer for me. So I switched back to tin lap with cerium oxide and finished polishing the bottom part of this one. All right, so this is the fifth one of my aquamarines that I'm ready to polish the bottom half, the pavilion on. And for this one, I'm going to use chrome oxide, which I haven't used a lot. Chrome oxide is kind of green. Chrome oxide bat stick. So I'm going to use that on a tin lap, and we'll see how chrome works with our aquamarine. Well, I guess you might have guessed it. Chrome oxide on a tin lap polished up this aquamarine right away. So I'm beginning to think any oxide will polish aquamarine, because so far everything I've tried works out just fine. Now you'll also note that there is an inclusion on the stone right there, but it's very near the side. So I think when I cut the upper half, this will be the upper half of the stone, the girdle will only be about this big, and then we start cutting in. And I think, with a little bit of luck, I think we're going to miss that inclusion. We're going to cut it all out of the final stone, and we'll have been pretty lucky. So let's go ahead and continue cutting our aquamarines. Okay, so I finished pre-polishing the upper half of this aquamarine, and now I'm going to use my Greenway lap and my chrome oxide bat stick. I don't think I've tried that combination yet, so I'll try that with the upper half of this gemstone. And this is the my chrome oxide bat stick. All right, so I've polished the upper half of our aquamarine and have just a table left to go, and the chrome oxide did great on a Greenway lap, so now I'll switch out and go ahead and cut the upper half of our last aquamarine, and then I'll cut both those tables at the same time. Okay, this is the final aquamarine of the group, so I'm ready to polish the upper half, and I'm going to use just a tin lap and cerium oxide. I think I've tested everything I want to test, so I'll go back to my kind of standard of tin lap and cerium oxide. Okay, I got both of the tables polished up on our last of our 5 aquamarines, so I'll soak it in the acetone and weigh them, measure them, take a better look at them, then we'll send them off to BOPIE. For this video, I cut 5 pieces of aquamarine using a Portuguese cut, and 2 of the pieces were the very rare ink blue aquamarine, which I picked up several years ago in Tucson from a vendor from the Congo. I hope I can find some more soon. And since I had 5 pavilions, 5 crowns, and 5 tables to cut and polish, I was able to experiment with various oxides and laps to kind of determine which combination polishes aquamarine best, at least for me. I didn't try 60K diamond on a bat lap in this experiment, mainly because I know that that diamond will pretty much polish every colored gemstone, but also because I want to save that experiment for later to maybe compare some oxides with diamond as a polish for certain gem material and see which one works out better again for me. So the combinations of laps and oxides that I tested out in this video included the tin lap with zirconia oxide, tin lap with cerium oxide, which has been my go-to combination for barrel for a while. Greenway lap with just a water drip, no added oxides. Dark side lap with zirconia oxide, a tin lap with chrome oxide, and finally a Greenway lap with chrome oxide bat stick to supercharge it. And I must have been having a really great streak of luck, because every lap and oxide combination which I tried on this aquamarine polished the gemstones right up. I would give each combination of laps and oxides a works great stamp of approval, with the exception of my dark side lap, for which I'd have to give it a works okay stamp of approval. It just wasn't doing as well as the other combinations on this test anyway. So I'll do some more testing with my dark side lap and some more experimenting with zirconium oxide and chrome oxide bat sticks on different gem material. As far as the design, a Portuguese cut's not a difficult to design, to cut and polish, although it takes more work due to all the extra facets in the design, but I would recommend this design for all cutters to try out. And if you do cut a gemstone in a Portuguese design, please contact me on Facebook and let me know how it turned out for you. Pictures are always welcomed. And as always, Happy fasting, everyone.